Hello, my friends, family, and esteemed colleagues. Here we are again, and we are continuing about our revealing of cause of diseases and how big influence on those diseases has a toxic blood. Now, in previous video, I have mentioned that those chronic diseases that carry inflammation basically come from the toxic blood being one of the culprits. Why the cells do not hydrate? Because cells do not want to hydrate with toxic blood. And because of this, they slowly dehydrate and become more acidic, which then springs appearance of inflammation as a forced hydration, which then basically follows all chronic problems. And this is where problem of headaches come, problem of joint pains, because this is all cumulative problem that takes time. It's a chronic development of these problems. So this video is going to be devoted to the way how we can detoxify this blood. We know that doctors have no clue how to do this because, again, in medical school they don't tell us this. Nothing is being said about toxic blood, other than, it gradually increases, and this is as we age, it's obvious because we observe that the blood of old people is much darker and much more viscous, much thicker than blood of a child, because it's toxic and it is dehydrated. There is not enough plasma in it. And this is the reason why the blood is toxic in the first place. Now, what has plasma to do with toxicity of the blood? Because our body has 3 different levels of blood cleansing. There is the standard level 1, which I call it below the radar, because this is how body should function if we are properly taking care of it. And this level 1 is cleanser of the blood are your kidneys. They have glomerulus that cleanse blood. And if the blood's toxicity for some reason increases, it could be because you just ate something really bad that was absorbed and now body has to take it out. But in most cases it is because cells of maybe one organ or one tissue or maybe multiple tissues and organs have eliminated some of their own toxicity and it ends up in the blood. The blood toxicity increases rapidly. So whenever blood toxicity increases and gets above the radar, which means above the regular, there is a switch that triggers the second level of detox, which is another organ that has higher capacity of detox and uses less water, less plasma. And this is the mucosal tissue. And mucosal tissue covers our respiratory tract and digestive tract, but also eyes. I explain often that the body is an electronic robot, and as such, it is tuned with sensors, equipped with sensors which are tuned to certain levels in which certain part or mechanisms of the body will be triggered when this sensor is triggered. And for cleansing of the blood, actually cleaning it of toxicity, as soon as level of toxicity increases and hits the second sensor, the mucosal tissue goes in action. So what does that mean, mucosal tissue goes in action? Because mucosal tissue also has glomerulus like a kidney. And it's way bigger, has higher capacity of detox. And it is going to start detoxing the blood. Whatever is toxic in the blood starts seeping out and mixed with the mucus, or create toxic mucus, that is going to now settle in this organ. So if we are talking about respiratory cleansing of blood, well, you are going to have phlegm. You are going to have mucus from sinuses, all starts dripping out, because you are cleansing those, the blood through those tissues. And if you had these tissues on a cellular level already very toxic, very, very dehydrated because of problems, the problem would be, for example, for lungs, if you start breathing through mouth, then you waste much more water and you will much faster dehydrate on a cellular level. And this is where asthma comes from. Start breathing through nose and you are going to stop asthma and slowly recover from it. But also, you would not go into this situation even by breathing through mouth if you had proper level of plasma in the blood, which means proper levels of blood. And your cells would always hydrate, will recuperate the water that they have lost. Now I always say plasma, and I have to keep repeating why it is plasma in the body, because it has to be electroconductive, because we are electronic robot. If we lose ionic value of our liquids, we die instantly. The system shuts down. Robot has no fuel. You unplug your refrigerator, stops working. So the second level of toxicity will trigger mucosal tissue. So now you have a mucus which is toxic because it contains the poisons that was eliminated from the blood. And now if it happens in lungs, and then on top of it, if lungs were very acidic, then more acidity will be here, and you are going to make this phlegm, mucus thick, because there is not enough water to begin with, that you will try to cough out. Now, if that happens in the stomach, then the accumulation of these toxins will give you nausea. And because in a case of cellular cleanse is much stronger during the night when we are sleeping, just because there is more energy available to the cells, since brain is not processing much. So your cleansing, your blood will be more polluted, and then cleansing of this blood is going to bring you the toxic mucus that is going to be even in your mouth and saliva, but settling in your stomach and giving you nausea, and you will vomit. This is why women, if they are dehydrated, if they have toxic blood, and then they become pregnant, so there is additional toxicity coming because of growing fetus. Now during the night they cleanse more because they are cleansing themselves and the fetus, and all this toxic mucus settles in the stomach and they feel nausea in the morning. Also, this same thing creates diarrhea if it settles in intestines. Once when you vomit, once when you expose these things out through diarrhea, everything settles down because toxicity is gone. This is also the reason why in the self-healers protocol you have to drink 1 liter of plasma the first thing in the morning, because you want to rinse those acids, get rid of them, so they don't give you problems during the day. So the nausea doesn't continue and diarrhea doesn't continue. You just flush it out in the morning and then you're fine for the day until next night and next a wave of cleanse and then next thing. So you are basically cleansing your blood toxicity through the second level of detox, which is basically your mucosal tissue. Now, if the blood toxicity increases a notch more, then it is going to trigger the third sensor, the less sensor, the less wall that deals with this toxicity. And this is your skin. People who have bad skin, especially with psoriasis, this is nothing more than extremely toxic blood that now is cleansing through the skin, and as the toxicity is coming, blood from the blood is being drained out, and now it's also flooding the liquids around the cells that is being expelled out. It is damaging actually even the skin and creating problems. It's always inflamed. Why inflamed? Because it is very acidic. So dermatologists always go, oh, okay, we put this cream and that cream and that cream, again, trying to coat it to camouflage it. Problem is not skin itself. Problem is the toxic blood that is trying, but it's eliminating its toxicity through the skin. Why? Because through the skin you lose least amount of plasma, least amount of water during the cleansing process, which means kidneys will work beautifully as long as there is plenty of plasma. Now, if plasma levels are not there, then kidney will have to save water. So it will not produce much urine. It will wait until the toxicity in the blood rises, and as the blood gets more toxic, now the urine will be more saturated. So for the same amount of water that you are losing, you will actually eliminate more toxins. And because the urine gets more saturated, it becomes darker and smellier. So, beautiful sign that tells you that you are dehydrated on level of extracellular liquids, which is basically your blood, plasma, lymph, is your dark urine, dark and smelly urine. If you have this, you have to hydrate. Don't wait until pain and other problems settle. But nobody knows this because we are not being told. We are not told in the school. Actually, we are told almost nothing about the truth. We are only being guided into becoming a salesman of pharmaceutical poisons. Nothing else. And then surgeons, how to cut things out. They are just mechanics. Sophisticated, but mechanics. They don't heal nothing. What surgeon destroys, body cannot rebuild. So now, when because of not having enough plasma, water, mineralized water, ionic water, water with minerals. It doesn't have enough of it, so now kidneys cannot eliminate too much water. They have to save water, so they wait until urine gets darker, more toxicity is being expelled, which means level of toxicity of the blood increases, gets to the second level, bang, triggers the sensor, and now the mucosal tissue starts involved. And symptoms of this are going to be nausea, diarrhea, phlegm, runny nose, runny eyes. Those are the symptoms when the second level, second sensor, second organ hits the detox process, because blood has increased its toxicity. And now, again, you are losing still a lot of plasma to do this detox. So if you are not replenishing it, then the toxic level continues increasing until hits the third sensor, which is the skin. And it starts now shooting even through the skin. And you can see this. Every patient, every person, wrong thing. We are not persons, we are human beings. So every human being that has problems with kidneys, especially if they end up on dialysis, well, they have problems also with nausea. They don't feel well. But what the worst thing happens is that you can see their skin becoming darker, especially when they sweat more around the neck, above in the armpits, in the groins area, because we sweat there more, and the more toxicity starts coming out there. And this toxicity always have foul odor. So the people start smelling bad. And the skin in these places becomes darker, and then eventually the whole skin gets darker because all this toxic load cannot go anymore through kidneys. Why? Because there is not enough plasma. And what are we instructed in medical school to do? To say our patient that has a problem with kidneys, no salt. Bingo, no salt, no salt. And then when the problem increases and now kidneys cannot work, no water, no salt, no water. How the heck do you think the kidney can work without salt and water, without plasma? And what kills the client? It's not the kidney. It's dehydration and toxicity of the blood that has hit the roof because all of the wrong information and wrong things that we are instructing our patients to do. I'm very mad about it because a dear friend of mine here in Peru is in the point of dying because he does not want to listen to me. Listens to his experts, doctors from Lima, they know. He's just about to die from kidney problem. It's not kidney problem, it's toxicity problem that is being prevented from healing itself through deprivation of minerals, of salt. So it gets me really mad because I feel so helpless. It is so simple. And people are in fear. People start with a detox. They start using the self-healers protocol. And as soon as the symptoms occur, which I am now mentioning, okay, dark urine, feeling bad because cells start throwing toxins into the blood, when they start detoxifying, so the toxic level of the blood jumps very high, and then all the problems before that were maybe even not so visible now really explode. The headaches, the joint pain, the muscle pain, the nausea, the feeling awful in general, it's all because of high level of toxicity in the blood that came from cells cleansing. And then of course we all are trained, this is training, we are trained to blame everything on salt. It must be the salt. No, I should stop with the salt. Well, you have started cleansing system. The toxicity, when it is inside of the cell, it is not bothering you. It is bothering you on a different level. It's bothering you with a deprivation of energy. You feel tired, you feel strange, you don't feel okay. But no pain. But as soon as this toxicity enters the blood, now it will trigger all the symptoms of toxic blood, and toxic organs really react to it because now it affects them even worse. So what happens is that all the pains, all the problems increase. If you had seborrhea, now during the detox, especially the cellular detox, it explodes because the level of toxicity in the blood increases tremendously. And the toxicity created the problem on the skin begin with. So of course now it is going to explode. It's not the salt, it is the toxicity. Please get it into your thick brain, reprogram it. Salt does not create any bad things in the body. I had a friend in Serbia. She is in medical field, and she started the cleansing protocol, the self-healers protocol, because of her daughter. She wanted to do it, so she joined her. And then after a few months, she says, oh, I feel great, yeah, everything is good, but I have one question. Am I maybe taking too much salt? Because all my life, I'm suffering from low blood pressure. That's not suffering. It's normal. We should have low blood pressure when we are healthy. And there is no particular norm for somebody what proper blood pressure should be. Depends on many things, even on height and weight. So she said, I always suffer from low blood pressure. And when I started taking water with salt, the plasma, I had this detox, all the symptoms you have mentioned, and now I feel really great. The only thing is that my blood pressure is very low. So what do you think? Maybe am I taking too much salt? So I told her, Yelena, please, now read your letter, what you wrote me, read it 3 times and really think about it. You had low blood pressure before you start using plasma and eating so much salt, because we all are trained not to take much salt. And then you had cleansing symptoms, but blood pressure, yeah, no change, not much change. And now you feel healthy, and low pressure is continuing. So this is clear demonstration that salt has absolutely nothing to do with blood pressure, increase or decrease of blood pressure. Zero. Zero. But we are so trained and brainwashed in believing that salt is cause of kidney problems and high blood pressure, and this is why blood pressure increases before we have kidney problems. Of course, you first swell, your blood vessels swell, they lose flexibility, they lose a ability of properly functioning. And of course, what is your body using for cleansing, to cleanse the blood? It's glomerule. What is glomerule? Glomerule is a chamber similar to these reactors. It is a reactor in which you have a capillary, fine blood vessels spiral into. This reactor is filled with plasma. It needs plasma, it needs all the minerals. And then it is being bombarded with frequencies that create pull and push, gravitational and magnetic fields. And they start pulling out certain frequencies and draining them. And this is how detox of the blood happens. Now, if you don't have enough plasma, everything is dry, even the chamber is not properly hydrated, it cannot work. And blood vessels also are acidic, dehydrated, rigid. It just doesn't work. And how do you fix it? By hydration. Instead of deprivation of salt and water, you have to really give it to it. I had a client in Caribbeans when I still had my boat and living on a boat. I always give lectures. Of course, people listen and then they laugh and do their thing. And he had big problems with kidneys. Didn't want to do what I told him to do. He said, oh, it's genetic. My father had the same problem and eventually died. And this is nothing much I can do about it. And does not want to listen. So, very frustrating, but what can you do? You have to accept it. Only his kidney problems became worse and worse, and now he made a decision he needs transplant, kidney transplant. So to do this, he needs to sell the boat to be able to pay for it. And to get a better price, he wants to take the boat to Europe. And we were in St. Martin in Caribbean. So he comes and says, look, I will not be able to have any dialysis, no medication, nothing when I'm going across the Atlantic. Is there something I can do? Because also my prostate is in very bad shape. Now I have blood in urine. Things are getting worse. I desperately need this kidney transplant. And I'm waiting now 2 weeks for crew to come from Europe to sail with me across. Is there something I can do? I said, yeah, but you have to bring your boat, anchor it right next to me here, so I see that you are doing these things. And then I told him what to do. And one of these things was soaking twice or 3 times a day for 1 hour or more, go in the water up to the neck in the sea. And through the skin, you are going to be absorbing plasma. You will absorb seawater with all the salt in it. And you will start urinating. And your body is going to keep type of minerals that it needs, eliminate what it doesn't need. And on top of this, you have to drink plasma, do my protocol, and change the diet just to speed up the process to bring the proper frequencies in the body. And he agreed to do this. Well, by the time the crew came, it was 2 weeks, his bleeding, the blood and urine stopped. He started urinating much better, less inflammation, and felt much better because he also had multiple digestive problems, of course. Low plasma, he's cleansing through mucosal tissue a lot of time and through the skin. So all these problems. And then he went on his journey and took him 1 month to cross the Atlantic. And he later on wrote me a letter. He said as soon as he hit shore in Portugal, the first thing was run into the hospital to check his blood. And actually he did not need any more surgery because kidneys has recovered so much that now they are functioning. Took 1 month, but of rigid, very strong, and also he had nowhere to run. Do this or die, because there is no help in the middle of the Atlantic. And since he felt the benefits 2 weeks before the trip, now he was encouraged and continued with the same protocol, not taking a bath, but drinking way more plasma. But I can talk until I get blue, and doctors will still stick to the teaching of the medical school. I've experienced this many times over. Hopefully, people are being aware on different things as they have been lied to. Well, maybe it's the same in medicine. Maybe what this lunatic is talking about is true. Who knows? Well, try it. It's simple. You don't pay for nothing. This is why, I'm not making any money, because I have nothing to sell. Only what I'm blabbering about. I have nothing to sell. Because you don't need to buy anything. If you live by sea, take seawater, mix it. Take a glass, big glass, put 1 or 2 fingers of seawater in there. The rest you take dilute it with rainwater or your regular potable water, mix it, bless it, and drink it. When we have a loss of blood, very often, doctors say, we have to give you 1 pint of blood. The infusion, without it, you cannot survive. Baloney. If you just put plasma directly into blood, into vein, and you put drip in there, you replenish the lost blood with plasma. Yeah, there will be less oxygen, ability to contract more or less oxygen because there's a less red blood cells. But that doesn't matter. You are not going to die because you are laying down. You are not running. So yeah, you will be a little weak until your body rebuilds it, but it takes 24 hours or less. Body quickly replenishes, builds up what it doesn't need. And what will happen? Now you have created brand new, fresh, clean blood. And this is going to help healing the whole body. Well, that's the problem. This is why they don't want us to know this. Because then they cannot sell us any more surgeries and any more toxic medication. That's the point. They rather give you toxic blood from somebody else. Unfortunately, most doctors are just parrots and they repeat what they have been told. They don't investigate. But it is very clear that your blood fills with plasma rapidly. If you are in a water, diver, submerge, in 20 minutes you start urinating, and then every 5 minutes you start urinating because you are now full of blood, because plasma levels are right there on the top. And you continue eliminating the surplus of minerals that you are absorbing, salts and water, and you are eliminating them. Your urine becomes extremely salty, but doesn't matter because your blood is cleansing rapidly. This is why divers, professional divers, they can drink alcohol as much as they want. They can eat garbage food and they don't get affected by it because they are cleansing everything all the time. Every day they are 6 hours cleansing. Usually 4 to 6 hours of their diving working time. Everybody who goes on vacation on the seashore, they feel great when they swim because they are absorbing plasma, ionic water with minerals. which is absolutely necessary for proper cleansing of the blood. You can't cleanse it without it. And then all problems go away. Almost all. Because some problems are directly connected through toxic food that actually reprogram the genetic code. And this is through the biblical forbidden fruit, which is no fruit at all. But it is in fruits as well, which is starch. So now you see how, number one, easy it is to clean the blood. Women have advantage over men because they have a menstrual cycle. So every month they lose blood. It is like donating blood in a hospital. Men feel always good after donating blood. Why? Because they got rid of a pint of toxic blood, and then the body rebuilds it. Then this fresh blood dilutes the toxicity, and you feel better. The woman that has a toxic blood will menstruate more. It will be throwing out the toxicity. But if the levels of plasma are low, then it cannot do it. So it will not even menstruate more. It may menstruate much thicker and smellier blood. But what happens now, lately, I noticed, and it happens, for example, with every client I had that had lupus. They lose menstruation. Young people, young women, early 30s, late 20s, no menstruation. Why? There is not enough plasma even to menstruate. What do you think? How can kidney work like this? It doesn't. Now it has to be involved. Cleansing has to go into the second and third level. And blood, skin problems occur. High sensitivity because of the toxicity and inflammation now becomes highly sensitive to the sunlight. Because sun, ultraviolet light, again brings frequency that cells want to protect themselves from. So they go into preservation mode, into fight and flight mode, as Dr. Bruce Lipton explains. But this promotes further cleansing. So they break out. Lupus, but this happened because body is attacking itself, immune system. Bullshit. Okay, bullshit. There is no autoimmune disease. Does not exist. It is all reaction of dehydrated body that is trying to survive. Nothing more. You hydrate, things go away. All the allergies, they are just problem of toxicity of the cell and inability to rinse itself because there is no water, no plasma. You hydrate, no more allergies. Simple. So much depends on plasma. Think about it. And I know, sounds stupid, sounds crazy. It's too simple. Can absolutely not be truth. I have heard this last 20 years. Try it. We are here to experience. So do it, experience it, and then let me know. Okay, I think this is long enough for now. We are going to continue. Next video I'm going to really put attention to the Self-Healers Protocol and why it functions the way it does and why we can heal ourselves, not cure, heal ourselves from all diseases. almost all, because some of them depends on our thought. But almost all, great majority of diseases, we can heal, and heal fairly rapidly, if we just allow body to do what it's designed to do, to heal itself, and not deprive it from what it needs to do this job. And what we are told in medical school is deprivation. Keep away from sun. Well, sun is frequency, and it's original frequency that stimulates healing because it corrects your frequencies. No, put cream, don't put something, umbrella, no sun. No salt, no, definitely no salt. A little bit, yeah, you need a little bit, but no salt, no salt. Cholesterol, fat, no, don't eat fat, no. Animal protein, no, 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 no. Eat sugars, eat sugar. Oh no, no sugar. Glucose, carbohydrate, yeah, there's a good carbohydrate, bread. Everything is upside down, everything is upside down. Okay, I better stop. Love you all. Please, please, even if it sounds crazy, try it. Ciao.